Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Estonian Business School's brief seminar on gamification and simulations used in study process. My name is Anto Liivet. I am head of bachelor programs in Estonian Business School, and I kindly hope you are going to find something valuable, something encouraging, and maybe also some new point of views for yourself while thinking on how you could learn the best and pursue your desired dreams in business or entrepreneurship. There are two of my colleagues together with me here today, Marge Sassi, who's a leadership lecturer, and Amanda Toominen, who's soon to become a graduate of Estonian Business School, also a recent graduate of the course I deliver, the business simulation game Dynama. So we are sharing with you some insights. We reflect upon our experience, and pretty much off we go. So Amanda, please.
Yes, welcome everyone, and so here is Anto and Marge, both of who have been my lecturers, and very recently I participated in Anto's course, Gamification, this Dynama game. So it was mostly about making managerial decisions and really learning by doing, and in fact 70% of our students are working while studying, according to our recent survey. So that is really high amount in comparison with other universities in Finland and Estonia. So it's really interesting topic, and maybe Ante could share some insights a little bit about what gamification is about.
Well, simulations is one tool or a method of gamification, but more or less gamification, as I understand that, is a combination of enabling students to really feel the autonomy. So it's often up to them to decide what and how and when to learn. Secondly, it's about mastery. It's about constant feedback and also making those feedback loops shorter, so you can test out different things, you see the outcome, and we help you to reflect upon the outcomes. And thirdly, it's still the purposeful process which aims to help you getting better and meeting your intended learning outcomes more efficiently. But Marja, your simulation is about leadership. Can you really simulate leadership?
Thank you. Great question. Before answering this, I would like to take the role of the bad cop, as you were so overwhelmingly positive about the impact of simulations. But I would also like to bring in one more aspect, which is that you can also fail safely when playing the simulation games. So it is not just about feeling encouraged, but one very important learning moment is also to fail in a safe environment and learn from this. And nobody knows it. You fail, only you know it. You keep it, I don't know, in a diary, in your head, and you make the corrections in the real life. But coming back to your question, if it's possible to simulate a leadership, what is simulation as such? And I'm not speaking about the simulation game, but simulating as such is kind of taking the role or pretending to be somebody you are not. So, of course, it's possible also for a business student to play the role of CEO, as in the game that I use. Game developed based on Professor Mihai's, Csikszentmihalyi's flow theory called Fligby. And in this game, sure, because students take nearly 150 decisions. They are taking the role of leading the company. They are responsible for the well-being of 8 staff members. they are responsible for earning profit, for motivating their staff. So no doubt in that, yes, it is possible to learn business skills and leadership skills and also HR skills through a game, especially when you use Flippy.
Yeah, and I can really much relate to that. I feel like I made so many mistakes in this game in Dynama. So it was really like doing mistake, and then you learn like, okay, why did I make this mistake? And it's better to do it in the simulation rather than at your first job. So it's really good to get that experience and that practical knowledge that you can really use at your work later.
Well, yeah, you were in charge of a company with annual revenue around 100 million euros. If you were playing your own money, the risks were much higher, right?
Yes, definitely.
But then you were able to try out things you normally never would in real life.
Yes, exactly. And there was many times that our net profit was going below zero, which I wouldn't have been probably fine if it was my real company. But in this simulation, it was a good experience to see that.
But we have also this Onnenbør wheel here, right?
Yes.
So we decided to have some kind of game elements also in our interview, so that we haven't prepared this fully for you, but it happens here at this very moment. Therefore, the wheel is leading our interview, as the wheel is telling us which question we should target now.
Yeah, so let's spin the wheel for the first time.
What a tension.
Yes.
They really don't know what's going to happen. Yeah.
Okay, so value of gamification in the study process.
Mm-hmm.
Who would like to start?
Well, what was the value for you? I probably asked quite similar questions after your course when you reflected upon the whole journey or lifespan of your company. So what was the value for you?
I think it was really like learning by doing and trying some different things also while doing managerial decisions. I usually would not be the one valuing the value of my company, for example. So counting that all out and how would we like to expand our company and business. So it was really, really kind of different type of learning points that I would usually get during a lecture.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think first of all, when also taking part in simulations, myself competing usually against our teams, it's been always fun. And I sincerely believe that learning has to be fun, because if learning is fun, it's also more efficient and effective in very most of cases. Second of all, it's quite lifelike. Pretty much all the simulations try to create an environment which is as close as possible to the real life challenges what companies or people are facing in the business world. And if it's lifelike, it also enables our students to test out what it takes to be a CEO or a board member of a rather bigger company, because at the beginning of our careers we usually start as a specialist, as a first line manager, but in Dynama case it enables students to become a top dog and really try out how things look like when you really need to combine different managerial functions to each other. Still, most of the courses in business schools and universities are quite disciplinary, so you're focusing either on management, marketing, law, or something else. And third of all, I believe it's also more engaging to students, and it also creates an environment where they can learn better from each other, maybe even more than from some teamwork exercises or just like reading scientific articles together.
Yes, it makes sense to take it over from here because the game you are teaching, the simulation you are teaching, is based on team's effort. Fligby is really individual, and as a result, additionally to wide range of leadership skills, the students are able to learn more about themselves. First indication on how well you are doing is an instant feedback that takes place after each scene completed, and student can already understand at this very moment when he or she is ready to take the critique and is ready to analyze the feedback, what went wrong, what needs to be improved in forthcoming scenes. Nevertheless, by the end of the game, the student gets very detailed feedback on 29 leadership skills. So I would say, most of all, additionally to the academic curriculum, which now can be used in a practical way. And the kind of requisite is that the student has taken some management courses before, and in my game it's okay, I can't call it in my game, come on, I'm sorry, I'm just a big fan of it. That's the reason why I call it my game. It's Fligby, and I am just using it as a tool. Nevertheless, it has, yeah, I feel it's mine because I just love it. Okay, but my point was that as a result of the game, students can understand how well different leadership skills have been developed. And using this tool, you can play it again and again and again. And for instance, after playing it once with intuition and based on your previous knowledge, after some break, you can read more, or you can, for instance, have a different goal, different purpose, or focus intentionally on developing these skills that lagged behind when you played it for the first time. So you already, during playing the second time, you already make a jump as you intentionally develop some of the skills. Okay.
Yes. Let's move on to the second one. So let's spin the wheel again. Biggest surprise when using simulations. Maybe I can start again. For me, I feel like it was that how much it really takes to make these managerial decisions, how much you have to analyze the previous data that you have in order to make the next one. I think in the beginning of the game we were really much doing it by like initiative. So like the first thought, just taking some go and seeing what happens. But then later you realize that, okay, I really have to look at this, and this, and this, and this to really get to the goal where we were trying to get to.
So there was much more complexity than you expecting.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, well, the good news is that real life is even more complex, and there's even bigger entropy, because every kind of simulation is always a model. Model is simplification, but it enables, in most of cases, to bring out what is really important, and then to focus on what matters. And for me, the biggest surprise or kind of discovery of myself has been the fact that I'm more and more kind of using this Dynamo way of thinking and the concepts I discuss with students myself when working with the companies, providing advice, coaching them, providing consultancy, and I have a bit older and more experienced colleague we're running the game together with, and he says that even in his 70s he's very much uses the same Dynamo type of thinking, and it has enabled him to succeed with many other projects outside of this simulation and classroom.
Okay, I had no time to think, but time was not enough to pick the favorite, because I have two surprises that are constantly, even after 3 years teaching this simulation game, I'm still surprised. And the first kind of well-evidenced surprise is that students play it voluntarily second, third and fourth time. So it constantly happens, and they will not be graded for this, but they just like the game and they just want to improve, and they want to be kind of they want to witness their own development, which is a pleasure as a lecturer. And second surprise is how analytical the students are, because in case you don't care, you are most probably, you don't go deep enough. But in the self-reflection diaries that students submit after playing the game, you can feel, you can sense, and of course read that they take it so seriously. They understand also what's the next step. And the next step is not waiting for the final grade. The next step is, what kind of additional subjects should I take? What kind of books should I read? What kind of TED Talks should I watch to have this to move to the next level? Because this game indicates where I'm now. And it also kind of opens up your chakras to understand where you actually want to move. Okay.
Completely agree, yes. So let's spin again. 3 more to go. Key learnings from simulations. I heard that, Anta, you have also been taking some courses before. So what do you remember of those times? What were the key learnings?
Well, the first time was definitely challenging, and I absolutely agree about complexity. But then this kind of key element for all the simulations, and also for most of the management challenges, is that you have to be able to model things, you have to create kind of concept, you need to do some scenario planning. So you, after all, have to simplify things for yourself in order to understand the essence or the crux of phenomenon. So those key learnings for a dynamo game are probably company life cycle or lifespan, how to do positioning, comparing different products launched to the market, how to keep an eye on competitors, how to create the tools what enable you to forecast different scenarios and your revenues and profits for the future periods. Pretty much all the things what you need to do as a board member in a bigger size company.
For me, the 2 most important learning moments have been the need for balance and clear goal setting. And by that, I mean, first of all, it's not enough to read tons of books. It's not enough to be born leader. You have to find a way how to balance it, because they support each other. And also as a student, in case you have tons of homeworks waiting for you and not having enough time, you have to prioritize. And as a clear goal setting, this is also something that I have kind of a rethought as a lecturer. What is it that I want to achieve with each lecture? What is it that I want to achieve with each course? And this is also something that I have emphasized to the students, that whenever you take an action, it is just not going with the flow. This is also a good approach, but nevertheless, you always need to know why do you do it, and it guides your way. It is not just that I am over systematic or over strategic. In hard times, being focused and knowing your purpose helps you out. So I guess this is what the game has taught me.
Yeah. And also like this prioritizing when you're working with a team to reach these goals, even if one person didn't have enough time this week to contribute, then it would show in the results that, okay, this part wasn't really done so well this week. So you could really see that how important the value of teamwork is there. And also that the competition is like really actually tough already at school, that if you didn't do so well, it would show in the results. So you really have to do a lot of work to thrive in the game.
And your peers know who's the loser this time.
That's true. That's
it
true.
probably creates and hopefully creates a positive kind of motivation to try harder.
Yeah, I think at least for us it did that. In the beginning it wasn't so clear what everyone's going to do, but in the end we were really like pushing it together. So it was really nice to see that change.
Yes, growth throughout the game.
Yes.
Also kind of a mental and mindset growth.
All right.
So spin time.
Yes.
Wheel time.
I guess this is something that you two can really elaborate.
Briefly, because we've been quite much talking about those ones we use in our bachelor programs. We use management simulation game Dynamo and then leadership simulation game Fligby. So we try to combine both the so-called soft side and the hard side of
teamwork
of
and individual.
Yeah. But may I ask briefly about Fligby? What is this flow theory actually? What this simulation is based on?
Hungarian-American professor Mihai, Csikszentmihalyi, has developed based on positive psychology a flow theory. I'm not going too much into details, but to sum it up shortly, the most important or the core concept is that when your staff members feel good, when you have a great team dynamics in your organization, it is not just that people are more motivated, but as a like follow-up from being individually motivated and being as a team motivated, it also results in a better business results. So basically, paying attention to well-being of each individual motivation, you actually contribute into the success of your company and excellency. And this is something that the students can experience and see how it works, because okay, I don't want to say wrong decision, but let's say not the best decision does affect not just the one single person that you were kind of interacting. It may have a long-term impact on the whole team and on the whole company. So therefore, to think wisely, and also perhaps something that is definitely an issue in Estonia, I'm not so sure about Finland, but definitely in Estonia, is also feedback giving and feedback receiving. So we kind of think that when a person is doing well, it's self-evident. Well, he or she should feel it. I smiled, I said thank you, that's it. But is it actually enough? Because we all have our weak moments, we all need to feel that we are appreciated. And if this is not done in an instant way, in an encouraging way, we may actually suffer because just lack of communication and lack of feedback, and this is essential as we are social human beings, and we need this. So I would say that even though there are more important elements and core concepts, in Estonian context I would emphasize this feedback giving. And I've also asked from my students how often do they receive feedback from their own bosses, these students who work. And it has been said that even though on paper it has to take place regularly, performance appraisals, nevertheless is sometimes not taking place, or what I would say is even worse is that it's very formal. So therefore this kind of a face-to-face, heart-to-heart feedback makes a change.
May I emphasize that both of those simulations are research-based, so it's not just imaginary world. One of the key concepts in Dynamo is diffusion of innovations and different research related to this concept. We have relatively limited time left, so
yes.
Probably we should turn the wheel
yes.
last time.
Last time, so what shall recover from that?
Looks like a CD.
Mm. So the life likeliness of business simulations. From my personal side, that I can say that in the beginning I felt like that the game couldn't be a presentation of like reality, and of course it's not in a way that it can't include all the aspects that's happening around us, but still in the end, further the game got, I felt like when you start to understand the concepts better, you really see that, okay, like this is the hard concept of kind of like making the decisions, and there will be externally happening other stuff as well, but in that sense it was pretty good reflection of the reality, I would say.
I've tried this Dynamo with the executive managers as well as with bachelor students, and I feel that especially for bachelor students who have relatively limited business experience in most cases, we need to explain more. We need to bring some different examples from the business world, how specific things can be related to the management game, but the more experience participants have, the more they are able to bring their own cases to the classroom and offer them as a basis for discussions.
Mm-hmm. I would say it's worse and definitely more challenging. And I have to say that we always have virtual chats with students after they have played 10 scenes, and half of them are shocked, asking, is it really that challenging in a real life? And most probably why it's harder than real life might be is because first of all, it's built in that training has to be more challenging than the real battle, right? And the other aspect is that to use a game as a learning tool, it has to have some kind of extremes. And in a way, kind of black and white patterns. And therefore, sometimes young students are really shocked that, oh, the people so cruel. Is it so much tensions in there? And I said, it's even, yes, it is, but you can cope it when you are well aware. So I would say that this kind of a shock, a good shock, also works as a motivation to learn more, to try harder, and as a result, in case you are not the winner of the game, to be the winner of life, to be winner of your own career.
Well, thank you so much, Marga and Amanda, for making this effort. Dear guests, wherever you are in this virtual room, thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, you guys have a really good day, and feel free to contact already in the platform, in the chat. So we will be there waiting for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.